I'm here to do a top 5 Wednesday. The theme this week was non-horror books that scared you, and this will go a little bit into some of my deepest fears in life. Um, but these books definitely were not meant to be horror. You could argue that one pretty much is a horror book, but I don't consider it that way. I think my friend Justin might disagree with me, but the first book I'm going to talk about is the Illuminate series by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I know many people view this book as basically a horror novel, and I don't. It's viewed as science fiction, but there is a lot of there's a very very high body count in these books, and it kind of has the George R. Martin premise. Don't get attached to anybody in these books because the body count is pretty high. But I really do I love the formatting of this book. It is not a linear story. It's told through found documents, and I really love that. But I also love these books because it's such a complex story. And I just love Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff and how they tell this story because I think it's just so well done. But it definitely has some creepy moments. I think I found book 2 a little bit more creepier, but I definitely did find book 1 creepy as well. There are some candles that I've seen on the Novel Your shop that I really do want to get and take some really cool photos for my Instagram. So I'm working on that. But overall, I just really found these books super creepy, and they're just really, really well done. So if you, this would be a good book. I think I actually read Illuminate during like a snowstorm because we had a bad snowstorm, and I think that's when I actually read Illuminate. I read it in like 2 to 3 days, or even less than a day. I think I read it in like 2 days. It's a pretty massive book, but it goes so fast, and I really, really loved it. I also love the second one, and I cannot wait for book 3. So I would definitely call it creepy. I wouldn't call it a horror novel. It's just a very, very high body count. And the atmosphere in these books is really, really creepy. So the next book series I'm going to talk about is, I talked about this in my Top 10 Tuesday, is The Darkest Mind series by Alexandra Bracken. I definitely do consider this a creepy novel. It's about this society where the kids develop some type of superpowers. And they all have like a dangerous hint to them. Like the lead character Ruby can like take your memories when she touches you, and you can forget who she is, which I think is which is really really cool. And I really liked it. But the first 50 pages of the first book basically takes place in like a concentration camp, and I was like, this is scary, this is creepy, and how the kids were treated was creepy. And the whole first book especially, is like Ruby's never in a safe place, and that's another one of my fears, like not having a safe place to land. So maybe just I projected like, oh my god, what would I do if I was in that situation? But yeah, I definitely do find that series a little bit creepy. Not a horror novel, but there's just creepy elements. The people in these books, like the adults, are really, really scary, and the things that they do to these kids is just like horrific sometimes. And I just think that that's just like another topic to discuss. But overall, I really, really love this series. It's being made into a movie, so I highly recommend you read book 1 before the movie comes out so you're not spoiled. But overall, I really, really enjoyed it. The next book I'm going to talk about is a standalone, and it's by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I got this book kind of on a whim about 2 Halloweens ago. It was like for $1.99 in my Kindle, and I read it, and I simply adored it. It was the first psychological mystery that I've read in a while, and it also has one of my deepest fears in it, having developing amnesia and having no idea who I am. That's basically what happens to Sam. She's found walking on the edge of a road, looks pretty beat up, but has no memory of what happened to her for the last couple of weeks, or basically her whole life. And she's not only trying to get her memories back and realize what type of person she was, but she's also trying to solve the mystery of what happened to her and what happened to her best friend. And it's a really, really creepy mystery, and you also like don't know what's going on. There's a lot of characters in it that have odd motives, and you're like, what is going on? But being in that situation, I'd be like, oh my god, what the hell is going on with me? And that was definitely, so by the end of this novel, I really loved it. Actually, I really, really, really want to reread it, but I have too many other mysteries on my wrist, so I can't. But I might get it as an audiobook. That's something I always forget I have the option of doing. But I really was creeped out by this novel and really enjoyed it. And it's another psychological mystery that really had me thinking. And I was not able to predict the end until like the last 20 pages, which is kind of hard to do for me. But I really, really loved it and highly recommend it, especially around Halloween or November, because it's a very, very creepy novel. The next book I'm going to chat about is it's going to be an odd one, but it's the Maze Runner series by James Dashner. I think I'm probably the only one that found this book creepy, but if you put me in a location where I don't know where I am, have no idea what's going on, I would be creeped out. And I literally, and add on to that, you have no memory of who you actually are. Oh, that would be really, really stressful and really, really scary. So simply reading and putting myself in these gladers mentality was so scary. And I was like not emotionally prepared for that. And I was like, oh my God, why is this happening? Why is this happening to these characters? Especially book one and especially book three. I was like, oh, it was a really, really good series. I don't think that Maze Runner series gets enough love because it kind of fell in that Divergent, Hunger Games, every other dystopian novel came in around that time, so I don't think it got the love it deserves. But I really did enjoy the series, and definitely elements of it definitely scared me. I don't like mazes. I don't like dark mazes, which is why I will never go into haunted houses. So that, in addition to everything else, really upped my creep factor. But I know I'm probably the only person in the world that considered this book scary. But for me, the last book series I'm going to chat about is The Natural series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and these are like psychological mysteries that have profilers in them, and the cases are really, really creepy and they're super realistic, and I was like horrified by most of them. But the thing that like really creeped me out was that, and a couple of novels in recently have done this, that they have like a you chapter that puts you in the mind of the killer. Those pages, simply being in that person's mindset, was creepy as hell, and I did not like it. It was really interesting getting in their mindsets, but it just added a creep factor because I felt like I was that person, and I was like, I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like thinking how they think. But it was really an effective writing tool. So way to go, Jennifer Lynn Barnes. And I really hope she writes more books soon. I know her Fixer series did not get the longevity that she hoped, but this series definitely added a creep factor. I really loved all the books. I do recommend that you read them back to back because there's a lot of like follow through. The books are very, very evenly connected. It's not till the end that the story is fully wrapped up. So I do recommend this read as like a pretty quick binge read. And don't leave 2 years between the books like I did, because I think that the ending needs to be read quickly. But overall, I really enjoyed it, and I hope that you will give it a shot. So these are all my books, my non-horror books that I found scary. Again, it really delves into my own personal deep fears, but I thought that you guys would get a kick out of it. So let me know in the comments what are some non-horror books that scared you. And I'll talk to you